then I'll put that flea in a box, and then I'll put that box inside of another box, and then I'll mail that box to myself, and when it arrives, I'll smash it with a hammer! It's brilliant, 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 I tell you! Genius, I say! Or, to save on postage, I'll just poison him with this! Take it, Kronk. Feel the power.
Oh, yeah, I can feel it.
Our moment of triumph approaches! It's dinner time! Da-na-na-na. And there you go. So, is everything ready for tonight? Yeah, I thought we'd start off with a light salad and see how we feel after that. Not the dinner, All right, the poison for Cusco, the poison chosen especially to kill Cusco.
Cusco's poison. That
poison? Yes, that poison. Got you covered. Brilliant. A few drops in his drink, and he'll be dead before dessert, which is a shame because it'll be delicious.
Oh,
all right.
Let's get to the grub. I am one hungry king of the world. So, no hard feelings about being let go. None whatsoever. Krunk, could you please get the Emperor a drink? Right. Oh. Right.
And
wait, last one. Last
one.
one. Is something burning? My spinach puffs. Okay.
And with that, we are live.
Well, see, now I know this part. Now he's like, so he's like what, in his mid-20s?
I'm not sure. Saved him.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. Okay.
And we are live. We've been live for a minute. Episode 29 of Bump That. Welcome back to another episode. If you guys do not catch the movie reference, that is Emperor's New Groove. Groovy movie. If you've never seen it, what are you doing?
Truly, probably a top 10 Disney animated classic film.
Honestly, it is so underrated. It is too funny. All of the little jokes and quips, whatever, they have lasted the times. So go check that one out if you've never seen it before. Anyways, how's everybody doing? We're on episode 29, almost on episode 30. Whoa.
You know, I always forget what we need to do. We also need to make sure that we introduce ourselves. That way people know who's actually on here. We got Ileana hosting the show.
Hello.
We got Katie Bauman.
She's not been Bauman for 6 years.
Yeah, I know. She's my sister, so she's still Bauman. But she's Katie Ash. Still here. And then you got me, Brian, the BB Bauman.
Yes. We are here on episode 29 of Bump That. We've never dared introduce ourselves, I think, in a single episode. But let's go ahead.
I didn't know we were dropping names now.
We're not anonymous.
We should have, like, YouTube names or internet names, like Brian's B Squared, Ileana is, I don't know.
IMDb.
What?
My initials are IMDb.
Dave Matthews Band?
But I was thinking IMDb. I don't know, man. What would yours be?
I was thinking, the first one that popped in my head was Sugar Queen.
And you're done with that. Let's go ahead and jump straight into the news.
If you don't get that I'll give somebody a shout out if they can get that reference.
Sugar Queen? Where's that from?
I know.
You don't know?
Sugar Queen?
You're saying it right. You're saying it
I know I am.
Right.
That's the thing. I know I'm saying it right, but I don't know where it's from.
Now I can't remember where it's from either.
Oh, that's Avatar.
It is Avatar.
Yeah.
Oh, Katara says that. Sugar.
No, Top says that to.
Top says it first, and then Katara says it again.
Look here, Sugar Queen.
Yeah.
I'm completely calm.
That's good. That's a good obscure reference. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and jump straight into the news. That's not even jumping straight into the news.
I don't even know. We're like we're belly flopping into that news.
So, quick review. You guys, so Nintendo, your best friends at Nintendo over there.
Yeah. Yes.
They were hyping over supposed to be Switch Pro. Instead, we got the Nintendo.
The Switch, no.
The
Switch,
OLED.
oh my.
Oh.
So, and what I've read about it, it's pretty meh. at best. What are you guys' thoughts
I
on
would
this
say
thing?
that's the general consensus is that it's meh. Like it's not better processing power. It's not a better battery life. Not better graphics by any means. Literally, it's all just kind of on the surface type of stuff. You know, you have the larger screen. Even the Joy-Cons haven't been updated. They're still most likely going to drift like everybody else is dealing with. So no real hardware factors that were in this update. So it's kind of like
Nintendo. What happened?
why we
I
have
can
some
tell
real
you
problems.
why. I bet. I can tell you why. This is speculation, but knowing Nintendo's history, this is exactly why they're doing it. It's gonna sell anyway, so why
and
make
that's
it better?
just a shame. I feel like
It's a shame, but that is how Nintendo operates. They can put out. I was actually thinking about this the other day. They can put out mediocre games that aren't really that special, such as Super Mario Party, and people will buy it like crazy, and it'll be wildly popular. And it didn't require a whole lot. And so what they'll probably do, not saying they will, but what they probably will do is release the Switch OLED, the Switch Oh My.
right.
And then a couple years down the line, they might release one that is even more superior. Probably, that would be a really bad business decision, however, in my opinion. This is all just my opinion. Because that'll be towards the end of the Switch's life cycle, so it wouldn't make sense to put out this brand new Nintendo Switch Pro at the end of the Switch's life cycle when they should be looking towards what their next console is going to be.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, you still want to have a nice Switch.
I feel like I mean,
where it's at now,
not
to definitely have a, I don't know.
Not to hype Sony again and be like on the Sony bandwagon, but at least when PlayStation 4 came out, you know, I didn't jump on the PlayStation 4 Pro because I was like, I just got this 4.
Yeah.
You know, it's barely, I barely had it a year, but still, Sony was still able to punch out the 4 Pro, and that still sold really well too, and that had 4K capability.
And
just
honestly,
like that,
even if Nintendo did bring out the Switch Pro, I still wouldn't have bought it. I have my Switch and it runs perfectly fine. Sure, there are, processing powers with, the frames dropping tremendously, like playing Breath of the Wild, and you walk into the area where you get your Master Sword. Oh my gosh, the frames drop so bad because there's so much going on. But honestly, that doesn't really bother me as like a gamer. I'm not really like, oh my goodness, this is just unplayable. I'm like, I don't really care. It's for a few seconds. So I wouldn't have dropped the money for a new Switch Pro because my Switch works fine, honestly.
And for the most part, Nintendo releases games that you don't need 4K. You don't need 1080. 60 FPS should be across the board. I will argue that. But when it comes to 4K, it doesn't need it. Yeah, it really doesn't need it. But I will say, I have been playing in handheld a lot more. And I will appreciate the two things that they will be improving, the Switch OLED is going to be improving, is the sound quality as well as the screen. It'll be going from an LED screen to an OLED screen. So that's about it. They're catering to handheld. They've always been, Nintendo has always been the Paramount handheld company.
Yes.
Nothing from Xbox. A couple of things from PlayStation that weren't huge. They weren't the money makers, but overall, Nintendo is catering to those handheld people, right. Especially with the Nintendo 3DS no longer being supported.
Yeah, so we'll see when more reviews come out about that one, but that's where we stand for now. Next on our list is Brian. You watched Black Widow. What is your quick review on it?
So, a little too late. I feel like this movie should have came out years ago. Oh, absolutely. It feels just kind of just thrown in there.
Well, wasn't I know you mean years before, but wasn't it supposed to have last year release date instead of this year?
Even before then, it does. This movie is set kind of in place of right during the Civil War time period, Captain America's Civil War, and right before Infinity War, Avengers. So it's kind of a flashback, and the film it's not a bad film. There's great action scenes. Scarlett Johansson and the rest of the cast are wonderful, but the plot for this film is just, it keeps having to recall back to, where are the Avengers? Where's Iron Man? Where's Captain America?
Right.
Oh, they're not here. They're off doing their own other things. So while the rest of the MCU has been pretty much, narratively straightforward, this film just always has to have a crutch of calling back to, previous installments. The ending is horrible. It's really choppy. It's really bad, just script writing. It's, they do things with the character that just kind of, you just wish they'd done. They kind of wrote it. It was in the writer's room a little bit more. But other than that, the action is great. It's intense. It was so fun to see the movie of this scale in a movie theater again. It was like, I felt so comfortable. It was so nice to see an MCU. It's still a high quality film. And to see a high quality film like that in a movie theater felt so natural. It felt like just getting back into just, oh, it was so great.
Did you have a score for the movie already?
Man, I'm probably going to give this a C+.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah.
Ooh.
There are sequences, there are characters in this film that do absolutely, I'm not even kidding you, absolutely nothing. They are in there for no reason at all. If you take them out, the film would continue fine.
Did you watch Wonder Woman 1984? I can't remember if we talked about this on a previous Bumped Out episode.
I loved Wonder Woman 1984.
Really? Okay,
I'm on board with Wonder Woman 1984. We can talk about that some other time.
I'd like to talk about that one sometime.
But to me, really quick, just Wonder Woman 1984, I think that's just purely the star power of Gal Gadot in that role.
Oh, definitely.
She's so good.
She just dominates that role.
You're in the minority in thinking that it was a great movie.
I think so as well. Most people were like, it was kind of boring.
Oh, I mean, at the end of the day, I love the original Wonder Woman. I think that film is, absolutely the best. But I really enjoyed. I think I dig deep, and we can talk about it more. But I dig deeper into Wonder Woman 1984. I think that Patty Jenkins, the director, was wanting to say something a little bit more in depth than just a traditional action superhero film. I think there's much more to that film than meets the eye. Right.
All right, so moving forward, we've got new Nickelodeon video game, Smash Bros-esque.
So, I mean, it was so cool. The trailer came out, and it had all these classic Nickelodeon characters battling each other in Smash Brothers mode. You had Reptar, you had Tommy Pickles, just classic Nickelodeon. I don't know. I saw Angelica.
Yeah, Angelica.
I saw Helga Pataki.
Helga Pataki was there. Yeah.
And it was just so fun to see a lot of these classic Nickelodeon characters. Danny Phantom.
Oh wow.
Wild Thornberry's guy, Nigel Thornberry, was there.
Yes.
So, I mean, I never really played Smash Brothers. I'm not a Smash Brother fan at all, but this game looked a lot of fun, really nostalgic, and I was like, it would be fun to play this game and just hear, like, the sound effects of all the characters, like Patrick, like, just squishing somebody. Just,
oh my gosh.
So here's the list of characters that are officially in the game. Helga from Hey Arnold. Yeah, the roster. Helga from Hey Arnold, Danny Phantom.
So does that mean, like, she's like
SpongeBob?
Football head, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Zim from Invader Zim, Nigel Thornberry, Michelangelo from
Right.
TMNT, Leonardo from TMNT,
Did they
SpongeBob,
stab people?
Patrick. I don't think they don't have their those are the two that don't have. They use nunchucks.
No,
and
Leonardo
staff,
has katanas, man. And then Michelangelo's got the nunchucks.
And what
Yeah,
console
yeah.
is this coming on?
It's coming
All
on
of 'em.
everything.
All of 'em.
Yeah, literally everything.
That reminds me of like
so
whenever you would go to the bowling alley as a kid and see the arcade games of
Yeah.
Nickelodeon racing. Good times.
Yeah, I still want that for my Switch. It is available on the Switch. So we have SpongeBob, Patrick, Reptar, Lincoln Loud from the Loud House, Lucy Loud from the Loud House. That's a relatively recent
Right.
Nickelodeon show. Oblina from Real Monsters and Powdered Toast Man from Ren and Stimpy. So here's my thought. Brian showed me this picture and I said this can't be real, because the picture I saw was of Nigel Thornberry and it looked ugly at first. I did not like his design. But it's very much like a Nickelodeon Racers. It looks just like that.
Yeah.
But then I saw the trailer and I was like, this is amazing. And then I thought of all the DLC characters that could come out just like in Smash. Can you imagine like Phil and Lil like teaming up like the Ice Climbers? But then I had like feelings about that. Like you're beating up on a baby. On two babies.
So I had a question then, since I've never really played Smash Brothers. When you play Smash Brothers and you like hit a character gets hit in the head or something, does that character make a sound like they get like hurt, like or something? Or...
sometimes, yeah.
So
it depends on the character.
I'm just thinking, I would just love to play the game and just hear all these characters when they get injured. You know, like
smashing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Or like
I've always been a fan of injured sounds, Brian. I
or
remember
like
being
like
kicked in the nose by you as a
like
child.
SpongeBob, like when he's like,
Oh.
This is something like that.
Or Patrick.
That would
I
be
can
an
imagine-
interesting one. Is there a
Yeah.
release date for that at all, or is it still
The
just
fall.
kind
It
of
said fall 2021. That's what I
Wow.
saw.
Okay, so recent. So keep your eyes out
Yeah.
for that one. Maybe we'll do
I
a
was-
review later.
I was thinking of like other DLC characters that could happen because my mind just went all over the place. You could have Jorgen Von Strangle from Fairly Odd Parents.
Parents.
That would be a good one. That'd be a really good one.
Patty Mayonnaise.
Listen, a friend of mine told me that, and I said, "Look, throw Quail Man in there. Make it Quail Man, not Patty."
No,
What
but
is
I
Patty
want-
gonna
You're
do?
pulling such obscure
I want
characters.
random. Exactly. I
we're
want
not.
random freaking
Nobody
characters.
watches those shows anymore.
Who
You
was
gotta-
the name?
You gotta
What was
cater
the
to
name of the
newer
one kid
audience.
in a wheelchair that had a Nickelodeon show? He had a cartoon. Was it like Pelswick or
wheelchair?
something like that? Yeah. Does that ring
I
a
don't
bell?
know.
Oh, come
You guys are looking at all these '90s cartoons.
Well, and then
nobody
you gotta think about
remembers them.
You gotta think about who's playing and
people
buying
my
the game.
age, not
Cat
your age.
dog.
Our
Uh-uh.
yeah,
Cat
people our
dog.
age.
Uh-uh.
Absolutely.
Cat
Yes.
dog.
I would do cat
Do it.
dog.
Make it Winslow.
Oh
Winslow.
yeah.
Oh my gosh! Is that the mouse? The little blue.
Yeah, the
mouse?
little blue mouse.
Yeah.
His nose. Why did he have like a human nose?
And then Angry Beavers come in.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo!
To cater to like the 2010s, you could have Tough Puppy.
Yeah.
What is that?
Except no one cares. Like exactly
I
what you're
never
saying. No
heard
one
of
cares
that.
about Tough
It
Puppy.
goes both ways. Nobody cares about most of those characters either. Patty Mayonnaise. If I say that to
Hey.
somebody my age, they're
Because
like,
that's the thing.
Who the
I
fuck is
want
Patty Mayonnaise?
I want to fight Patty Mayonnaise with Helga Pataki. Two blonde chicks
yeah, you
fighting
know,
each other.
I'd love to see that. I would
Or
love to see that.
finally-
or Tommy Pickles. Or Tommy Pickles beating
or
up on
finally
Oh,
in Hey Arnold.
Plankton.
Hey Arnold, the kid that was like,
Brainy. His name is
Brainy.
Brainy.
and now he finally gets to fight somebody.
Wow.
See, I've got this whole
Gerald.
thing in my head.
Everybody, like all the characters from Hey Arnold.
we're-
Gerald.
We're forgetting
Gerald?
one major franchise from Nickelodeon,
Wait,
Avatar.
wait. I just said ing.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
I said ing.
Counts.
That's not a Nicktoon. Is it a Nicktoon?
Yes, it is. It is considered a Nicktoon. Yes,
so
it is.
you can put Appa and Momo in there.
Listen,
or King
man.
Boomy. I don't freaking know.
All right, let's move on. Now you've gone too far.
Anyways,
No,
next
no.
on the list is
Not
Red
far
Panda, new Pixar movie in the makes. It's called Red Panda. Teaser trailer just dropped, and it was about less than 2 minutes. Initial thoughts. What did we think about it?
Loved it. Laughed out loud.
I did too.
Has Pixar come back to form with this one? Maybe, possibly.
I don't know.
Maybe too early to call, but
It's
I
very
got a good
charming.
feeling.
I will give it that. Very charming. However, it gives me the Lorax, like.
Oh my gosh, you are absolutely. I was thinking Dr. Seuss.
Thank you. It looks
I
like
was
those
thinking.
Dr. Seuss movies, the Lorax and Horton
Yes.
Hears a Who.
What is going on here with Pixar
They
suddenly
can't-
abandoning their style?
They
I
can't
don't understand.
pick a style now. Luca looked like Aardman, and now this Red Panda movie looks like what? I don't even know. Is that Blue Sky or something that did those films? The Dr. Seuss films? Or is that Illumination? Who did those?
No, I think it was Blue Sky. I think it was Blue Sky.
I
We'd have
don't
to look
know,
that up.
but it looks very reminiscent of it. We're in the scene where the panda is flying over that man and his eyes open. They're so close together, similar to how they were in the Lorax. They're small, little tiny eyes, very pushed in close together. And they look very, like, not clay or Play-Doh.
It was
They just look very
Illumination
soft.
Entertainment. It was Illumination.
Yeah, and they
Wow.
just look very soft. So there's
I
not,
noticed-
like, a whole...
I noticed that when we saw the main character sitting in the classroom, when the hat is just like the little girl from the Despicable Me
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah,
And then
you're
when
right.
she's like clenching her teeth, that is the same animation style
So
as
it's like,
Illumination.
it just doesn't look like a Pixar film to me. I'm going to go watch it, and I'm most likely going to enjoy it, but I will be thinking in the back of my mind the whole time, most likely, what makes this Pixar? Why is this Pixar?
Again, I'm saying the old guard for Pixar has gone.
Right.
They're gone, and I don't think they're coming back. It's all new kids at the studio running things now.
All the ones
I don't
that
know
went
if-
to Cal Arts in California.
Yeah, so Toy Story 4 might be the last of the old school traditional Pixar style films. We'll never see those again.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're onto something.
Which is kind of heartbreaking because nobody else is doing that style.
I mean, Soul was closer to Pixar. I think it still started to stray away, but it still had some Pixar-esque feel. But
I'm glad you saw that, though, because I noticed it, and I was like, what is this?
yeah,
It's
but since
not
Soul, I have not
Pixar.
been noticing that from any of the movies.
But it's not a bad thing though. I think it's just different.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just not very Pixar-like. It doesn't look like a Pixar film.
It
You know
just
what I
looks like a different quality from a studio. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not Pixar, and it's like they're stealing from a lesser studio. It's like,
Yeah, because
What
like
are
you
you
look
doing?
back and you've got Incredibles and you've got Wall-E, Ratatouille, and they've all got this somewhat grittiness to them that was very Pixar. Even Finding Nemo, which is a very like clean-looking movie, it's very blue and oceany. It even has that you can tell this was a Pixar film.
and I think it's
to
too.
what you're
It's
doing now.
it's the way I feel like Pixar was at the cutting edge of how they animated when animation went from traditional 2D to 3D. Pixar was the one that led the charge on how humans are animated,
Right.
and their animation for people was the best. People didn't look super cartoony, they look.
And they looked pretty darn bad at the beginning, but they definitely amped up their skill as it. And I think that's what's interesting too, because you look at Toy Story 1 and you see how awful Andy's mom, Andy, and the babies are animated, whatever.
Yes.
It looks. Look at
Especially
Sid.
Molly.
Look at Sid.
Poor Molly.
That is an ugly child. I'm sorry. Everything else in that movie is beautiful, but they are weird puppet looking. They don't look real in any way. And
But
then-
see that progression from Toy Story to Incredibles 1.
Right, but even look at Toy Story 3, where they look completely different. And
better.
Incredibles 1 to Incredibles 2. But you can still tell they are Pixar films. I don't know what's changing. Obviously, they're getting better, and the animation is getting better, but they look different.
One thing, though, if you also saw the trailer for Encanto, which just came out, that's a Disney Studios.
That looks great.
That's a Disney Studios CGI film. That looks like it has the traditional Pixar style, though.
Yeah, it does. It looks like
disagree,
Coco.
Actually.
It looks like Coco to me and Moana.
I was going to say, it looked exactly like how Disney is doing their movies now. It looks more like a Disney film. More so than Pixar, but that movie looks really
that
good.
looks like the Hispanic Up. With the colors-wise,
yeah,
that's what that reminded me of.
It looks like Moana and Coco had a baby to me.
That trailer made me laugh too, like really laugh out loud. That was really funny. I'm looking forward to that one.
Well,
wow, long news segment.
Yeah, that was a long one, but we're gonna go ahead and jump straight into Katie's dessert.
Eat it, eat it.
Sweet thing. I'm gonna. All
right.
right.
Off.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so what?
No, I'm. Oh, no. Go.
Why aren't you eating?
So today's dessert comes from Barrett's Baked Goods over in Buford, Georgia. And I was very surprised by this location. I thought it was just gonna be like it was a very small bakery. Actually, it was tiny, a little place in the wall, but they had so much to offer. I had such a hard time deciding what I wanted, and everything looked so good. However, it was also sitting in my car, so some of this is kind of melted. But I've got two items today. The first one is a coconut raspberry tart. It's a cookie. It has a cookie bottom with some sort of gelatin thing on top. I honestly don't know what this is. It looks like, the consistency looks like a pudding, very smooth, but it's not a pudding. And it has a coconut bottom and a little wafer on top. It's really thick and heavy. Okay.
I don't know why Brian's not yelling at you to take a bite already.
Oh my god. Wow. That is so interesting. So, inside the reddish pink gelatin thing, there's jelly in it. There's like a raspberry jelly. Really flavorful. The coconut comes through as well. This is a shortbread cookie. Ooh, it's breaking apart. Ooh, but it's really, really good. I'm going to eat that later. Faux show. And then I also have what's called a blondie. Looks like a little blondie cupcake. It has, it's very dense. It's got whipped cream on top with two little vanilla cookies on it. This thing is huge. I need a fork for this. Let's see. Oh, it's hard to cut through. It's because it's so dang thick. Oh my god. I would eat both of these things in a heartbeat, like all of them, all day. Oh my goodness. So,
why don't you eat it in a heartbeat then?
Because I want my heart to keep beating.
Ba-bum.
So yeah. Actually, really quick, I went to the doctor this week just for a checkup, and they had to take my blood pressure twice because it was 60 beats per minute, and they're like, is your heart even beating? They had to check it twice. Anyway, so that was Barrett's Baked Goods in Buford. I will go back for sure. That was wonderful. So, eat local. Ileana's got the jokes. She's so funny.
I have jokes for us this week, and these come to you from popsicles, the popsicle sticks. So,
oh gosh.
What kind of bird is always sad?
Oh, I don't know.
A bluebird. Ah, so blue. What do you call the last bit of snow to hit the ground?
What?
A Snowflake.
Oh my gosh.
What was the musician's favorite pastry?
I don't know.
A drum roll.
Oh my god.
All right, and the last one is, why didn't the sun ever shine on the castle?
Why?
It was full of nights. Get it? Nights.
Oh my
It's dark
gosh.
outside.
Good.
What popsicles are you eating?
Oh, so good. And now, I hope you guys had a chuckle with me. I sound like I'm talking to my toddlers. Anyways, it is time for The Chunk. Brian, what are we talking about this week?
So today, due to some consternation we had with Ileana last week, we decided to go back to dig into a very important film franchise that kind of defines a lot of the film franchises of today, especially in the superhero genre.
Yeah.
And that is the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Please allow me to set the stage for you.
Oh, set that stage.
I will. When Sam Raimi's Spider-Man came out in 2002, it changed everything in cinema and was the film that truly ushered in the modern era of the superhero films. I mean, there have been a few hits in the past years. The original Superman in 77, the first Tim Burton Man in 89, and a couple of the Blade films. They were really popular. But when Spider-Man came out, every studio took notice and pushed to make superhero films a big part of their the films they were going to make. And when Spider-Man came out back in 2002, $400 million domestic, $800 million global success. Can you believe that in 2002, Spider-Man actually beat out Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones in terms of the global box office? It was that big. Because of Spider-Man, other superhero films soon came out. Not quite as popular. Fantastic Four, Daredevil, and Hulk were released to mixed results. Christopher Nolan's Batman came out in 2005, just 3 years later after the original Spider-Man, and that proved that you could really make a serious superhero film. After that, Jon Favreau's Iron Man came out in 2008, setting the stage for the massive success of the MCU. And still today, the MCU, all the Marvel properties, have made more money than any film franchise in history, even more than Harry Potter, the HP. So, 2002, you had Spider-Man. 2004, you had Spider-Man 2. 2007, you had Spider-Man 3. All films were received with different levels of success, different levels of box office, and that's what we're going to dig into today, is kind of going back to take a look at it's been a long time since 2002. And Spider-Man.
Oh my gosh, it's almost 20 years now.
So, Ileana, what are your fond memories of the Sam Raimi, of all the three films? What's your favorite parts of those?
I would say definitely watching the first one. I don't remember how old I was when I first watched it, but watching Toby Maguire shoot webs out of his hands and finally figuring it out, and watching the scene where the spider comes down from the ceiling and bites him. I vividly remember watching that as a child. The second one, that's the one with the octopus man, whatever his name.
Doc Ock.
Oh, there he is.
Played by Mr. Alfred Molina.
I definitely remember his character. He kind of gave me the willies a little bit. I didn't like his whole mojo. Oh, and Green Goblin, going back. That actor has always kind of also given me the willies.
Mr. Willem Dafoe.
And when he actually took on like the Green Goblin face and was zipping around on his little hoverboard thing, that for one thing is super cool for 2002. I'll just say that whole sequence, I don't know, that seems like it was a little for above its time, I guess. it maybe doesn't hold. I haven't seen the movies in forever, so maybe it looks bad now, but back then it was like, oh my gosh, it's on a hoverboard, that's so freaking cool. So, I will say I very much so like the first movie. Second one is okay, and then you guys all heard my opinion on the third film last week's episode. Yikes! What was that film?
Okay, before we start getting negative, Katie, what are your fond memories of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy?
So I think the first one especially will always have a special place in me cold, cold heart. I think it actually set a precedent. It set a precedent for superhero films, because prior to that, if I am recalling correctly, you had these Batman films. You were coming out of Batman and Robin like in 1990, 6 or 7, something like that, and it was awful. It was really, really terrible. Now, I'm about to go on a whole different tangent. So you are coming out of these terrible superhero films, and then you get to something competent, something that grabs your attention, something that says, okay, nerds can be cool. And I think that was actually their turning point for nerd pop culture, where all of a sudden it was cool to be a nerd. But when it comes to the movies, the first one was a lot of fun, especially with Willem Dafoe's character. He was a fun villain. He was kind of, he was really goofy and funny, but he was also very menacing, especially with his cackle. The second one was also great. Alfred Molina's character, you couldn't help but feel bad for Doc Ock. He was like one of those characters, you have to root against him because he's the bad guy, but you can't also help but feel sorry for him in what he's going through. The third one, look, Ilyana, you're crazy. You're crazy. I saw the third one 3 times in theaters, man. It was so good.
Oh my gosh.
It's true. And I think that, they had a lot going on in the film. There was a lot.
It was like 8 different plot lines.
So?
Oh, it was all
What's
over
wrong with
the
that?
place. It was
What's
so
wrong with
messy.
that? I thought that it was actually handled really well. Some of it was cringy. It wasn't a perfect film, but overall it was really cool. And there was one scene that always stuck in my mind, is when Sandman is turning into Sandman. That was such an incredible sequence.
Mr. Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah, that was such an incredible sequence to animate. And again, you have a character that you can't help but feel bad for in some places. But then you also had, I will say, Venom was done terribly. That is my biggest gripe about that movie. Venom was done.
He was hardly in the film.
All right, before we get any more negative, for me, Spider-Man is like the culmination of a childhood. By the time you get to be, I was probably about 15 when I saw that. It was outstanding. It was a great way to kind of enter into your teenage years to see a movie like that. It was just, Spider-Man, the original, is just one of the great summertime blockbusters. It was such a fun film. It had people talking forever. Everybody and their grandmother went to see Spider-Man. Who didn't love seeing Spider-Man the first one? It was such a fun film. Spider-Man 2 is technically the best film. Technically, it is the best film of the trilogy. Sam Raimi does things with Doc Ock. Those claws feel like they have like a mind of their own. They're their own character in conjunction with Doc Ock and Alfred Molina. It was such an amazing style of technical wizardry to bring those claws to life, and then the whole sequence on the subway train is still maybe one of the best superhero action sequences of all time, period. Still to this day, I can't think of a more whiz-bang fun action sequence. Throw some at me, I think Spider-Man 2 still has him dead to rights. It's still that good. Spider-Man 3, yes, it's not a perfect film, but it is an epic. It is a superhero epic. At the end of the day, too, when that film came out, 3 films came out. There were part 3s. Shrek 3, the worst one of the series, right? Pirates of the Caribbean 3, one of the worst films I've ever seen of all time.
Oh no.
Literally one of the worst films. So bad. Spider-Man 3 is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It is a glorious $200 million film.
Oh my gosh.
That
I can't believe
where
it.
a director's just like, I'm just gonna do everything I can. You know, there's studio pressure on me to get Venom to do it, but I'm just gonna do what I can, and just the parts that I love. You can see Sam Raimi when he does Sandman, he loves that character. He puts so much into making that character come to life. It's just beautiful.
Can I interject now?
Franco did not have to be in the film because he's not very good. But at the end of the day, Toby Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, they're great in the film. Love them to death. All right, what you despised, Ileana? Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have nothing to despise in Spider-Man 1 or 2. I actually don't really remember 2 all that well. It's been a while since I've seen it. But Spider-Man 3 is still fresh in my mind because of how awful it was, okay? And here are my reasonings. Like you said earlier, too many plot points. There are too many stories going on. I remember seeing the commercials come out for this film, and it was all about Venom, all about this scary black version of Spider-Man, and that's cool.
It's called a symbiote. Thank you.
Whatever. It's cool looking. Why wasn't there more of it in the film? It was literally advertised as, this is the Venom film. Why am I watching Sandman then? While Sandman's a cool character, I wanted the Venom film. And I'm yelling, but it's funny because I like getting uppity. But it's, no, really though. Why was... Venom was maybe like there for 15 minutes, I feel like, on the screen, and it was towards the very end of the film, and that movie was freaking long. It went on forever. And then don't even get me started about the cringy scenes of when he's at the bar singing that song or whatever. That's just his whole character change in that, like going through that emo phase. I don't know what that was. That was some garbage right there.
God,
that was
you were the
okay,
guys
trash.
in the emo phase. Oh
Can
my goodness.
Can I
Please
speak now? May I speak?
Yes,
okay,
interject.
so I will say a couple things. So in regards to the emo scene, yes, it is cringy.
Ugh.
It's hard to watch sometimes, but at the same time, it had a purpose. He was supposed to look like an idiot. He was having a complete change of character, and with that, I need to go back a few points. One of the things that I've always not liked at all about the way Peter Parker is portrayed is that he was so lackluster to me.
Yeah.
In the comics, you know, he's a little bit more he's not so like meek. That's the word. He's not so meek. He's kind of snarky, actually, in the comics. He does have his moments where he's meek, but he's actually kind of a smart mouth, and it really shines when he's in his costume. And I liked how they did it in PlayStation's Spider-Man, the way that he was like radiating snarkiness, and I think that's how it should have been done in the film.
It's even like that in Spider-Verse.
Yeah, it's like that. So that's my gripe. But what I didn't like in the third film, obviously I didn't like Venom. It's good that they didn't contain him as much. I think they should have just done the film without him, and it still would have been good. But what we got, I mean, it's not horrible. It's not unwatchable. So I don't know. When it comes to the Sandman, I was really impressed with that though. The sequences were brilliant. Brilliant. And I agree with Brian that the second one probably is the best. It was actually more of an emotional roller coaster. It was an emotional roller coaster as well as just having fun with, superheroes. And you said this years ago, Brian, years and years ago, at the very end of Spider-Man 1, when he's just swinging around from building to building, and you see him, like, sort of pose in front of the American flag. You said that you could watch that all day, and I was thinking about how cool it would be to have it, like, as a screensaver on your laptop. Just Spider-Man just zipping around, just swinging all over the place. That would be pretty neat. But those are my thoughts. That's about it. They're all good movies.
I'm looking at. I just went Google Images Spider-Man 3, and all I see are, like, the promotional posters of him, you know, back to back with Venom, and I'm like, where even was this? This wasn't even in the film.
Venom. But it's not.
That's Spider-Man in the symbiote costume. That's not Venom.
That's him in his, like, alternate form.
It barely was in the film, though.
No, that's complete. That's what you're watching. When you see him in his emo stage, that's what you're looking at. You're not looking at Venom.
All right.
Venom is the other guy.
I'm gonna interject now. So and talk about. First, I'm going to defend a little bit, and then I'm going to talk about what I didn't like. First off, I'm tired of everybody talking about the emo stage of Spider-Man. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. That's like the only argument that anybody ever has about Spider-Man. Listen, back in 2007, that was when emo music was really big. So that's what everybody's talking about. That was what everybody could gravitate to.
You just don't understand me.
If emo music didn't exist in 2007, nobody would have said that. He just, like, they said this guy was just a douchebag. That's all they would have said. And that's right. Can we say that on this show?
Yeah, we can say it.
We're
bad? Family friendly.
Oh.
Your daughters watch this. You say that word in front of your family?
I kiss my family with that mouth.
You said douchebag.
Anyways.
You said it again!
Anyways, so that's what was popular in the day back in 2007 was emo music. And people were like, I hate emo music. Oh, but you secretly love Fall Out Boy, so shut up, okay? That's all that it was about. Was just like, yeah, I'm not an emo guy, but yeah. No, I'm sick of it. Listen, Peter Parker had to be a bad guy, and but he can't be a bad guy. He can't go out there and, you know, rob some little old lady. He just has to be the guy that you want to, you know, trip down the stairs. That kind of bad guy. You know what I mean? A guy that you just want to, you know, elbow in the guts. So that's Peter Parker in that film.
Are you saying that you want to elbow all emos in the guts? Is that what you're saying?
He's not an emo because the
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
What do you mean he's not an emo?
He's not an emo.
No. He's not. He really isn't.
He's not an emo because it didn't exist. He's not just going out there with this guitar and like, oh, you know, Uncle's dead. You know, woe is me. You know, so get off of like, oh, he's putting his hair in his eyes. Now he's gonna start cutting himself. That's not what Peter Parker is.
Oh my God.
That's not what he's doing. Okay, this isn't Good Charlotte. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, leave Good Charlotte out of this.
What was the other band? What He's not My Chemical Romance. That's not what this is about. Goodness sake.
But no, it's so jarring.
No,
I
completely
weird.
I completely agree, but that's the point. It had to be that way.
Okay, but it wasn't good.
Wait.
It was bad.
So would you rather that Peter Parker, his transition from being a good guy to a bad guy was he's gonna start talking with the New York accent? Hey, go yourself, okay? Is that what you would rather have Peter Parker have done?
No,
other than just
it
being
doesn't
like
need to be that extreme. He doesn't need to become. I mean,
he has to be extreme.
It had to.
He has Venom inside of him or whatever. I don't even remember what happened. I was just so
the symbiote.
Okay, whatever. That is going on inside of him. He's going through this little metamorphosis of I'm going through a phase. That's literally what it felt like. Is I'm going through an emo phase. Was just, ooh, I've got this thing inside of me and it's making me act weird. So
but there is no emo.
Him.
Again, there's no emo phase. Don't ever say that again in reference to Spider-Man. Evil? He can't be evil. He's the good guy.
It would have been a better film to like have him fighting.
So that's like saying.
Internally.
Wait. That's like saying, Peter Parker, you've now turned into Darth Vader. You're going to go slaughter some younglings. Is that how evil you want him to be?
No,
he
but
can't do that.
I want an internal struggle within himself of, I've got to be good.
He
there's
did.
This thing inside of me that's
And
evil.
he did. He realized
But
that
he wasn't evil. He was just a jerk, and it was bad. It wasn't a good movie.
No. My hand is raised, teacher.
Okay,
My
you
hand is raised.
you have the floor.
Okay. All right, so look, at first he was enjoying the power. He was enjoying having all of this confidence. It made him feel good. He wasn't realizing that he was being a jerk until
he was
being,
hurting the people he loved.
Yes. He hurt Gwen Stacy. He hurt
Mary Jane Watson.
MJ. Yeah, he hurt MJ. I think he hurt his aunt.
He hurt Franco, his buddy, his best friend.
Exactly. So he's burning all bridges, and when he gets to the end, that's when he's having this internal struggle. Do I want to keep this and keep my confidence, or do I want to, continue being this jerk? He literally rips the thing off of him. There's this whole sequence where he's fighting this thing.
It's a moment of redemption.
But it's not watered down. It is.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
All I am is a jerk because of this thing. Boo-hoo!
No, listen. It's not just that. It's consuming him. He literally has to rip it out. It's taking over him and consuming his whole psyche.
That's not depicted, though. It's just making
him... Yes, it is! That's how I know it!
It's just making him a butthole. Everybody becomes a butthole when they become confident in some ways.
What?
No, wait. There's a different level between being confident and then pushing your girlfriend and, hitting her.
And being a jerk in public.
No. I wanted more villainy to make it seem like this is a real, superhero conflict.
Wait a minute.
What does he have to do? Beat up his grandma?
I don't want him to beat up his grandma.
Aunt May?
Ileana, you are literally asking for a third villain. Spider-Man versus himself.
No, okay.
You want a third villain in this movie that's already over 2 hours long? Are you serious?
Venom was supposed to be the main villain. Why is Sandman in the freaking film?
All right, so if you never heard about the making of Spider-Man, unfortunately, there was a lot of studio pressure to have Venom in this film. Sam Raimi was not on board. He did this.
Shows.
Venom was not supposed to be in this film. He was probably supposed to be teased as the next villain in Spider-Man 4. In fact, they were going to make a Spider-Man 4 at one point. Before they did Amazing Spider-Man. But it was supposed to be the redemption cycle of James Franco's Harry as the new Green Goblin, and then just the kind of redemption of the whole trilogy. And then Sandman, who did kill Uncle Ben. That's
Harry
why
die?
Yes, Harry died.
Spoilers.
So that was the whole
I'm just kidding.
That was the whole circle, but then the studio said we need Venom in the film. Sam Raimi was like, I don't think so. We're not ready for that yet. The studio was like,
they weren't.
Do it. And they weren't. And Topher Grace is probably my least favorite part of the whole trilogy. But at the end of the day, I'm going to defend Spider-Man 3 because it's not a bad film.
No,
it's a great film.
I will, and I think besides all that, I think the mistake, speaking of Topher Grace, was casting him as villain. I think if they had put a different person as Venom, I forgot his real name, it's something dumb. If they had
Eddie Brock.
That's it. Yeah. If they had changed Topher Grace to somebody else, then I think it would have carried a little bit more. Somebody that was maybe a little bit more, I don't want to say masculine. That's not the word I'm looking for.
Here's the thing.
Somebody that was a little bit more menacing.
You're going to think of Topher Grace as the kid from that 70s show. Always. That kid is not threatening in whatsoever shape or form.
It would be like casting the guy that plays, oh my gosh, my Sheldon, my brain.
Yes.
It would be like casting Sheldon in a
Jim
superhero
Parsons.
role. Yeah. You just can't do it. You cannot do it. No matter how hard you want to be.
The movie was a flop for me.
Wow.
It was bad. It was all over the place storyline.
No, listen, Spider-Man 3 is great. A lot of the action scenes are great. The underground water scene where Spider-Man fights Sandman in the subway tunnel is excellent.
I will give it that. I like Sandman. It should have just been Spider-Man versus Sandman. Get rid of the whole Venom thing. Why was he shoved in there? It didn't make any sense to me. And it's so watered down. So I'm just like, I like Sandman. Because you feel empathy for him. He's a screwed up guy a little bit, but he had a family. He wanted to go see his daughter. And I, sympathize with him. I thought that was a great, you feel for him, but he's also being a criminal. So that aspect of the movie, I was all in for. I was like, this is good. But what is this other storyline doing here? This doesn't make sense.
Again, not a perfect film. There's a lot of, I think Franco, Harry, that line,
and he
plot
was
lines
another thing too.
Suffered. A lot of the MJ stuff suffered. But I feel like I have to defend Toby Maguire in this film because I feel like he got just so unjustly ridiculed for his performance, and I think his performance is actually really good.
What they did for him was just cringy.
He owns Spider-Man, Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Yeah. He owns both parts.
And you've got to really hand it to Hayden Christensen because he got so ripped. Just that alone, he got so ripped for that role. It's insane. If you watch him in George of the Jungle, you're like, how is this the same guy?
Oh my god!
Literally, how is this the same guy? Just with
Sandman,
him,
right?
Listen. Yeah. In George of the Jungle, he was this scrawny guy, like Ursula.
I love it. It's so good.
But then, but you look at Spider-Man 3, and he's gonna deck you in the freaking face.
He's intimidating.
Just for looking at him wrong.
Yeah.
He is very intimidating. He's like a gentle giant, though.
Yeah,
in a way.
I like that aspect
and he
of
did
the film.
And he did a great job of really making you feel sorry for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a guy. He's a regular
definitely
guy.
In the eyebrows, the way he expresses his emotions on his face, I thought he did a great job at that because I felt his pain. He wanted to be with his daughter, but he also, criminal. Oh no.
So
oh no.
In 2007, Spider-Man 3 came out. It made a ton of money. It was made $1 bajillion. But at the end, there was still, thanks to people like Ileana, there was a lot of mixed affection for the film. A lot of people, critics, they loved it. Audiences, they paid a lot to see it, but they didn't appreciate it more. So in a few years later, the film was rebooted with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man.
I told you guys in the last episode that I watched this with my friends kind of as a joke. And that's kind of what I think of this film, is that it's how you guys watch, Katie, how you guys watch your silly movies that you guys laugh at. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Spider-Man 3 is one that I will put on that list as one I watch and laugh at.
Ileana, is that the legacy then for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy? It's just
not
jokey?
The legacy. That one is an anomaly in his other two films. The other two, way different, and they had more structure to them.
I'll give you that. Okay, that's fair.
No structure, streamline everywhere, just zigzags. There was no straight line in that one. No structure to the film. So, not his legacy. I will say the other two redeem him in this flop for me.
Katie, the legacy of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, what are they to you?
I think, I said it before, they hold a special place in me cold, cold heart. It's filled with cobwebs, but they be of good tidings. But no, seriously, I love the first two films, especially. The third one is great. Like I said, I saw it 3 times in theaters. And so I hold them to be very fond of myself. I actually have, I still have a Sam Raimi lunchbox, like Spider-Man lunchbox. I still use it. I love it. And the design, we didn't really get to talk about the design of Spider-Man. The costume, so good.
Way cool.
So good. So, that's all I have to say.
I was gonna also mention, legacy-wise, for Sam Raimi. Wow, what a Kickstarter to, like, Brian, how you opened it up with, to superhero films. Just, what they've come to now, and what they've done for nerds across the world, I would say, is, reading comic books and, like, glasses, nerdy glasses, geeking out, and now it's like, oh, everybody's a fan. And if you're not a fan, who are you, So I would say that is his legacy in that one is
it's become dinner time conversation where you're at the dinner table and it's like, yo, did you see
Infinity
such and
War?
such? Yeah. No, I don't think I will.
So Sam Raimi, the guy is still working. In fact, he is now the director for Doctor Strange and the Mysteries of Madness and the Marvels of Madness. The next Doctor Strange film he's going to be directing. And we've seen his pedigree. The guy knows how to direct superhero films and doing Doctor Strange. We'll see what we can get. That's going to be a big MCU film. I've already seen there's lots of different pieces to that. Loki, Wanda, they're all should be making appearances in that. It's going to be a big film. But at the end of the day, the Spider-Man films, I love them. I can't wait for my kids to watch them because I feel those are films that the whole family can watch. Absolutely.
I went to camp one year, and I sat in front of a guy who quoted Spider-Man 1 the entire 2-hour drive. And it was actually very impressive. He quoted the entire thing from start to end. And we all were just listening like this was amazing.
If I were to quote all of Lord of the Rings, all 3 movies, would you think I'm amazing too?
Probably, but this guy,
I could.
He did it theatrically, and it wasn't
Anyways.
just like... Whatever.
But I remember our mother renting Spider-Man, the first one, to watch with her.
Blockbuster?
No, it was like a different rental
it was like
place.
Hollywood something.
No, it wasn't even that. It was like a military rental place. That's where we got it from.
That was 2002, so we lived on base still.
Right.
Our father was overseas fighting the bad guys, and so I remember we rented Spider-Man, and Mother watched it, and she enjoyed it. Whenever my mother watches a film and enjoys it, I always remember that because it makes me feel good.
Nice.
And I remember I introduced my wife to the Spider-Man films. She enjoyed those, and I'm looking forward to the kids to watching the original Spider-Man trilogy because literally anybody can watch those, especially those first 2. I mean, the first 2 are just great, and anybody can watch them and enjoy them. And the fun thing is we can go back and forth in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun of it. It's so cool to do that and just nitpick about it. But that's the legacy, I think. So...
And that is it for this week's episode. Next week, Brian has a treat for us that he is doing a game. What is the game on? Or is it going to be a surprise?
I'm going to tease it. I'll give you the tease. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
All right. And with that, we conclude episode 29 of Bump That. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. And if you have some comments or thoughts on Spider-Man 1, 2, or 3, or if I was totally wrong, or if those 2 bozos above me were wrong, please leave a comment down below what your thoughts are. Also, I had a quick question for everybody. Should there be a MCU new Hulk film? There's not a singular Hulk film that has come out since early 2000s. Should there be a new one?
Wait, kid. There's Hulk, and then there's the Incredible Hulk, kid. Get your facts straight, bro.
Okay, but there hasn't been one with the new Hulk, the MCU current Hulk.
Yeah, Incredible Hulk.
He has not had his own film.
He has Incredible Hulk. That's the second film in the MCU,
okay, well,
kid.
He hasn't had one recently, so should he get one? Leave a comment down below. If you guys think we're full of crap, leave a comment down below. Also, subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we will see you guys in next week's episode. Bye-bye!
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.